Hi, top finance skills for the future. The future is ever changing, and also with the advent of artificial intelligence, we find that the financial system is constantly changing. The change here is always constant. So, what are these finance skills we ought to know as the future is going, as we are getting there? I'll just get directly into some top 10 finance skills you ought to have as an accountant or an accounting secretary or an accounting expert or a accounting consultant or chartered accountant. No matter which form of accountant you are, just develop these 10 skills. The first is data analysis. Data analysis is simply the ability to interpret and analyze financial data using Excel or Python. So the ability to interpret and analyze data. You should be able to analyze data, especially financial data or data in terms of surveys. That in fact, all data. The second skill you ought to have is financial modeling. Financial modeling is for you to be able, or they're creating and analyzing financial models to make informed decision. They're creating an analyzing of financial models to make informed decisions. So what are these models you have in you which could help people to make informed decision, up to date decision, trending decisions that will help the growth of the company? The third skill you ought to have is digital literacy. You must be digitally literate. You ought to be digitally literate, which is staying up to date with technologies that concerns financial analysis, staying up to date with information concerning financial systems or financial analysis or technologies. The fourth skills you ought to know is cyber security. Yes, final cyber security, protecting financial systems and data from cyber threats. You get to protect. How can you protect information from cyber threats? How can you protect the data from your system from cyber threats? So this is it. Be that your system or your data, just it being for it not to be tampered with. You ought to know one or two tricks about cyber security. The fifth is communication. Yes, communication, being able to convey complex informations to stakeholders. With the advent of AI, you use different platforms, different softwares in order to generate accounting reports, your financial statement at the end of the year. So, how can you communicate? You should be able to communicate these informations to stakeholders, convey it to them for them to understand what you have done and what you're still doing. So before we continue to this point, please subscribe to my video for more information with finance with Magdalene. The sixth skills you ought to have is leadership. Yes, leadership, guiding and activating teams to achieve financial decisions or objectives. You should be able to guide your team using software. You should be able to guide your teams and motivate them in a particular trend or software on how to achieve their financial objectives. So leadership, you should have the leadership skills. The seven is financial forecasting. Financial forecasting is predicting the future performance based on historical data or market trend. Predicting future performance based on historical data or market trends. So you should be able to predict what will happen in the future based on what is happening now. Predict 3, 4, 5, 6 years based on what is happening now. You should not be caught up with changes while you are still left behind. The eighth is knowledge of global market. What are global markets? They are knowing how the impacts of international markets will affect local communities. How are local communities being affected with the activities taking place in the international market, especially in the forex market? What is its impact? The 9 is adaptability. You ought to be open to change. Be open to change. Be open to trends, what is happening and what is not. So know what are the trends right now. What is the financial software which is in vogue that companies are constantly getting into? Be adapt. Don't be fixed. Don't be static. Try and adapt. The last but not the least is strategic planning. Strategic planning is simply developing long-term financial strategies to align with the organizational goals. You develop long-term financial strategies to align with the organizational goals. So these are the top 10 skills I brought to you to know as a financial student or a student offering finance, accounting, what have you. So just get into train and learn these top skills. And until then, I've been your host, Finance with Magdalene. Please click on the subscribe button to get more updates about trends happening, especially here in Africa.